I'm honored to be here talking about the importance of female entrepreneurship in our society. It's my pleasure to share the story of remarkable women that I met during my life. Women that are impacting their communities, the regions, and the world in a very sustainable, innovative, and responsible way. All these women, through their resilience, commitment, passion, and hard work, they are not only breaking their glass ceilings, but also they are contributing to a more inclusive and more sustainable world. So today I'm going to share the story of these women, but the importance of female entrepreneurship is raising, actually. This is a topic that is raising. It's not only because it's an economic and is related to the global economy, but also to the innovation and sustainability. As Hillary Clinton says, so investing on women is not only good, but it's a smart thing. So investing on women, when we invest on women, we need to think of women not only as consumers, but also as employers and entrepreneurs. So women are responsible as consumers on over 20 trillion of US dollars. And as employers, they generate over 40% of the employment. But not only that, so this is an increasing trend that in many countries, especially in Latin America, over 50% of the entrepreneurs are women. So this is relevant not only for the society, but also for the economy. And not only for entrepreneurship, but also for the companies, because women as leaders are also contributing to the profitability and for the business and the productivity of the businesses. So, but also, innovation and investing in women entrepreneurs is very connected, because investing in women is also helping the companies to be more inclusive. And that means they can innovate and also they can create new ideas and new projects. Do you know that women are to economy the same as trees to the forest? And do you know that with one seed, you plant a tree? And with 2 trees, you can also have a forest. And the forests are a source of life. The forests are a source of income from a lot of communities in many, many regions in Latin America, especially indigenous people. Their source of income and all their business are related to the forest. But also the forest is related to the health, because the forest generates, and the trees, actually with 2 mature trees, you can generate oxygen for a family, for a life. But it's not enough. The forest is a great place for communities, for the plants, and for the people and the women that are living in these places. And they are aware of that, and they take care of their forest. But it's not enough, the forest, because in the forest they live plants, they live insects, and also, of course, women. But we need the water to preserve the life. So without water, there is no life. And I don't know if you're aware that 70% of the world of the planet is covered by water. And we assume that there is enough water for all. But just 3% is fresh water. So water is a natural resource that is very relevant, and actually investing and making available the electricity, and the natural resources like water to women is a great way to empower women entrepreneurs, because the oxygen, the forest, and the water are the source of life and a great source of income from these communities. And there are women that I met through my life. They are aware of the relevance of these natural resources. Women that they take their role seriously to preserve these natural resources. And this is the case of the first person that I want to share the story, which is Petita Yarza. Petita Yarza is an indigenous woman that I met a few years ago. She grew up in Panama. She born in an area that is a Guna area, which is an indigenous area. Their parents, they realized that there was not a place for the family. So they moved to the center, to the city, the center of Panama, which is Panama City, to give the family an opportunity to study, to grow, because the area where they were living, it was very affected by garbage. And actually, one of the reasons that was contributing to the garbage was the tourism. So Petita decided to study tourism. And her dream was to create a sustainable area for her region through the tourists, through sustainable tourism. So she studied hard in Panama City, and then she had the opportunity to buy one of these 300 islands in the region that is called Gunayala. And she owned one of these islands that is an indigenous area, so you need to be indigenous to buy an island. So they bought an island, and she decided to go back to the region and to invest in the region and to generate employment. So all the knowledge that she had through the tourists, it was to create a sustainable island. And that's what she created in Gunayala. You can go there and see how amazing is that region now. So she was working hard to generate employment for hundreds of women, hundreds. But not only that, it was not enough for her. She decided to, she's a chola, she's like a designer, which is basically, she decided to design and to use their customs, their language, and their identity to reinforce them of women. And she created a whole system around their identity. So now, she created these islands, sustainable islands, where women are empowered and they have this source of income thanks to the role of Petita Ayarza. So the second story is another woman that I met that is called Nawal Al-Hossani. Nawal Al-Hossani is an Emirati woman, and actually is one of the first women to go to the Kilimanjaro mountain. She studied engineer. She has also a PhD. When you're an Emirati, you have option to study abroad and to study in the place that you choose. And she took serious that. She studied hard, and she saw that in less than 50 years, UAE became from a desert, from an area that was empty, to one of the most inspirational areas in the world, in Dubai, Abu Dhabi. So she saw the growth of the region. She saw the region and the role of women, and she had a dream to contribute to that development of the region. And she was working hard, using her knowledge, so to accompany the region in this process to become more sustainable. And that's why there is a city called Masdar City, that they are using the natural resources, then the sand, to have one of the most sustainable cities in the world in Abu Dhabi, where she lives. She was part of that. She was sharing the story. She was sharing the lessons learned, and also it was not enough for her. She decided to invest and to connect and to create an initiative with Wiser to help women in sustainability. So she's dedicating resources, financial and non-financial resources around the world to help women in Latin America to become more sustainable. And that's the way I work for over a decade for her to see the amazing job that she's doing, joining forces, the two of us, to impact the lives of thousands of women in Latin American region. Then we have the story of Juanita Lopez. That Juanita Lopez is an Afro-Panamanian woman that she grew in an area that it was feeling that the Afro-Panamanian women, they were not at the same level of the white people. And she decided to create a nonprofit to help women from her community. Now, Juanita is taking a leading role working for indigenous and Afro-Panamanian women in her home, in her country. And this is the story of Jean. Jean is a woman that actually is an American woman, is a Native American woman, that she was raised by her mom and all her siblings in a farm. The mom was sure that she was transmitting all the indigenous knowledge to her and her family. And she is now raising 7 boys, being sure that she's using these techniques to help women that are struggling with cancer, women that are under vulnerable situations, using the techniques, indigenous techniques, and also spiritual healing sessions and process, using always the environment and the nature as a powerful tool to help them. And this is the last story, the Cholitas Bolivianas. Cholitas Bolivianas are women that, not a long time ago, they were climbing mountains. Yes, they are like Cholitas escaladoras, the climbers. And they knew well. Why? Because they were the cookers. They were accompaniment in the mountains. So they knew well the role. They knew well the mountains. One day in 2015, they realized that they can do it. They can do it without men. And now the Cholitas Bolivianas, they are using their traditional costumes, their traditional clothes, also to send a message about the power of women, the power of your own identity or your own values, your own culture, to do what they love. Guess what? What they do always in good company, because they are a group of women that they are always in the mountain, guiding people, and now extending their knowledge in Latin America, climbing the mountains. And these are the Cholitas that are cracking the ice ceilings through their way of life, their knowledge, their experience. And also, they're proud of their identity. So when we listen to these stories, we think, and so what? What can I do? And I encourage all of you to think that sometimes we see indigenous people, Afro-American people, or maybe all of them as vulnerable people, but they can also be drivers of change. They can also be our role models. They can be change makers in our role. For that reason, I think that all of us, we can see the way to use the natural resources to think how can we create business ideas that can sustain your family and your environment, but at the same time with good company that are helping you to enjoy the journey of being an entrepreneur. Thank you.